Welcome to the PostalMate webinar, 6 tools for making money with cubic rates. My name is Karen Grant and I'll be your instructor today. Today we'll cover 6 tools to make sure that you're making money with cubic rates. There's an entire section of the Domestic Mail Manual, we call that the DMM, that covers cubic rates. For your reading enjoyment, I've included this in today's handouts and we'll get to that in a little bit. First thing you need to remember is that cubic rate is not a service. It's a pricing option, and that makes it very different. In fact, with Priority Mail, you have now 3 pricing options. You know all about carrier branded, that's those flat rate boxes that we hate, and the flat rate envelopes. Generic boxes is any other item, and that's sent by weight-based. And cubic rate, while it's not really new to us, it's pretty new to us. It's been out only a couple years for us, is the 3rd pricing option. All 3 of these are the exact same service. Cubic rate goes no faster or no slower than generic pricing or carrier branded pricing. In fact, the label is the same. With cubic boxes, however, the size or the measurements that you enter, the dimensions in PostalMate, need to be very accurate. We have, as an industry for a very long time, just kind of rounded up in dimensions, and I'm not going to discourage you from doing that, but what I am going to do is encourage you, when you are shipping cubic rate, to go and perhaps adjust this on your rate comparison screen to be more accurate so that you get better cubic rates. Because cubic rates actually matter to the 1/4 inch, and it's the only price option for any product or service you would sell that matters to the 1/4 inch. Everything else justifies to the 1/2 inch. So make sure that the measurements are good. PostalMate knows the rules. So if you were to enter a 1/4 or an 1/8 or 5/8 or 3/4, PostalMate knows to adjust it one way when you select the cubic rate and a different way if you select it for the other services. So it has all of those built in. So please don't think that you will mess up your other things if you should choose a FedEx or UPS or something else for that item. Please don't think that you have to go back and adjust the measurements. You don't. PostalMate does know the rule for each service. Okay, so at the packaging dimension screen, sorry, I got a little bit out of order, I think. Okay, at the packaging and dimension screen, you're going to see a button here on the right-hand side called fractions. You may have never ever noticed it before, but when you click it, this kind of ruler thing comes up. And that ruler, you can just click on a button and it will enter the decimal for you. Not all of you are real comfortable with converting 3/4 or 7/8 or 5/8 to an actual fraction or to a decimal from a fraction. And some of your employees may even be less comfortable with it. So by just clicking on this fractions button, this ruler will pop up, and it will be a one-time pop-up. When you come to it next time, it'll be not there, and you have to click it again if you want to use it. And you can enter the fractions by just clicking on the, enter the decimals by entering the fractions. You know what I meant. Okay. We're going to come back to a screen very similar to this shortly. But to make sure, in order to get these rates, you have to have a qualifying account with Indicia. And I think most of you do have an account with Indicia. In fact, 99%, okay, I made that number up, but it's really close. 99% of our customers have an Indicia account. But that doesn't mean that your Indicia account qualifies for cubic rates. So if you got your account years ago, it probably does not qualify for cubic rates. You need to understand, or I want you to understand, that a huge proportion of Indicia customers, I'm going to say 90 to 95%, okay, I made those numbers up too, but it's a really big number. A of customers of Indicia account holders don't get cubic rates. It's a very small percentage of Indicia customers that do get cubic rates. Cubic rates are designed for commercial shippers. And in fact, you have to ship 50,000, you have to show that you have shipped 50,000 or more priority mail packages in the previous year in order to qualify for an account with cubic rates. And you go, well, I don't think I did that. And I would say to you, I don't think you did that either. The fact is, I only know of one Postalmate independent store that would qualify using those terms. However, Indicia and the USPS has agreed that we can be grouped. Sorry, hold on just a moment. My apologies. The Post Office and Indicia has decided that you can be grouped collectively and qualify for that 50,000 all as a group rather than individually, which is really cool. This service this pricing option, that was my bad, this pricing option is not available at the post office. In fact, chances are your customers have never, ever heard of cubic rates, and they should never, ever hear those words from you. Okay, I don't want you telling them that, oh, we have this cubic rate thing. There's no reason. If they've never heard of it and they don't know what it is, then there's going to be magic that happens. And I'm going to show you some of the magic in just a minute. So this is basically what your rate screen looks like when you pull up and put on a package that would qualify for cubic rates. When you pull up your rates, you'll get a rate cell, and that's what we call this little box right here as a rate cell that has a CR in the corner, and that stands for cubic rates, and that's how you know. And you may or may not have some words in here, and we'll talk about the words you can put in. But if this was on your screen right now, which one would your new employee choose? The low price one or the high price one? Now, I don't speak for all employees. In fact, I will tell you, I had an employee that was very good at helping me make money in my store, and those employees are invaluable. But most employees don't want to hear complaining for their customers because it feels more personal than it is, and they will easily choose the least expensive option. Additionally, a number of you have customer-facing screens, or you share your screen so your customer can see it, and you would not want your customer to be able to see an option for $13.02 when in fact you want to sell them on the $30.86. So your question might be, how would I do that? Well, I'm going to take you out of the PowerPoint for just a moment to Postalmate and go to a similar screen here. And this is my setup. And I want you to notice that there is no CR on this screen. Can you see that? We're going to talk about why in just a moment. If that customer was in my store, now happens to be a bunch of documents. It's about a ream of papers worth. So you can see on the left, it's a 12 by 9 by 3 box, which would hold a ream of paper. It's 5 pounds, 5 ounces. And I'll have you know, I actually weighed a ream of paper, so I wouldn't be lying to you today. And so let's just say that the price came up. I would want to sell my customer this option right here, if they wanted it priority mail, $30.86. Now, the chances are pretty good that many of us would jump over to FedEx and push a FedEx, or jump over to UPS and push a UPS. But I'm going to tell you why not to. Look at UPS. My wholesale price on this, and of course your wholesale rate's a little different, is $15.29. For FedEx on this one, I've got $14.59. Now you're going, well, but with post office with this one, your rate is $23.81, but it's not. My rate on this is $8.92. Yep, that's right. When I hit this button right here and I click next, and I click, I have to actually finish the job, but when I finish next, click next and click finish, and the label prints out, Indicia will charge my account $8.92, not $23.81, because I have cubic rates on my account. How do I know that? Well, I come over to the tab up here, and these are called tabs. come over to the tab that has cubic rates. There is the cubic rate, and there's the wholesale price, $8.92. Now your next question is, but yeah, Karen, you didn't press that one. You pressed the one over here. That's right. Here's the cool thing that happens with Indicia. Postalmate only sends the raw data to Indicia. We tell Indicia, here's who it's from, here's who it's to. They selected priority mail. It's this size, it's this weight, and they wanted these add-ons. That's all we send to them. And if there was insurance, if an account could do insurance, we would send that. That's it. That's all we send. Indicia says, oh, priority mail, it's going to be $23.81. Oh, wait, there's a flag on this account. They have cubic rates. Let's look and see if cubic rates are cheaper. And they do that internally. Their computer systems do. And they look at cubic rate and say, oh, our cubic rate is $8.92, and that's a lot cheaper than $23.81. It applies automatically the lowest price that package qualifies for. This is for boxes, not for soft packs. This is for boxes. So you will always select the weight-based one. You will always get the available cubic rate wholesale price. How do you know that? You look at your bill from Indicia. I know that only about a very small percentage, I could make up numbers again, I'm going to say 2%, but a very small percentage of our stores scrutinize their carrier bills, particularly Indicia. But I want you to go back, if you've recently done a cubic rate or a weight-based package, I want you to go back and scrutinize that bill and see if maybe you have one where you were charged a lot lower than you had anticipated. That's how you know that they applied the cubic rate like magic behind the scenes. This is, I like to call this the magic of the cubic rate, and it's wonderful. So I'm going to get back to the PowerPoint, but I want you to notice a few things here. See how this says not available? That's an option. You could do that. Now, by the way, I put in these words. This does not come from the carrier. You know, sometimes you get an NA that means not available. That comes from the carriers because usually that's on an international or something's overweight or something like that. I typed in not available here so that my employee would not choose this service. And if my customer saw the screen, they wouldn't question this because it clearly says not available. I'm going to show you how to, or we're going to let you know how to put in these words or other words that you might want to do. Over here on priority mail, I have put in 2 to 9 days, not guaranteed, and you can put in whatever words you want. And by the way, media mail is another one I'm not real fond of. Make sure that you put educational only. Just because it's documents or a DVD or a CD does not mean it qualifies for media mail. It actually has to be educational. Not that anybody at a post office is going to check whether it's educational, but I like you to know the rules. And if you're trying to convert that customer to a regular paying, not a media mail customer, you could let them know that. Okay, so we're back to the priority mail. We're going to go back to the PowerPoint screen here. Bear with me. Okay, and so you can see on this screen, I have the two rates side by side, but we've already decided we're not going to do that. We're going to move that, and we're going to first go and talk about these words in here. And here's two ideas. What message would help you? So do you want us to have it say soft packs only or not available? So I'm going to come back to this screen in a minute, and I'm sorry to play back and forth with you, but I want you to understand the difference between, well, actually, I'm going to go to this one. The difference between boxes and soft packs. They are treated extremely differently in the way they're handled. With a soft pack, you have to check padded envelope or soft pack when you're processing. So I'm going to go again once to Postalmate, and I'm going to bring up the dimensions screen here. So when you're entering dimensions, and let's just say this was a soft pack, I would have to click padded envelope or soft pack. Now, I will tell you, especially since this is going to be recorded and viewed later, I have put in a request to our development team that we change the words here to something else. I don't know if it's going to happen. If it does, I don't know how soon it will happen, but just be aware that the words here are going to change a little bit, and I'll tell you why. This is for USPS cubic rates only. It's the only service it applies to. And in fact, if you hover over it and read the words, it says this is primarily for priority mail, blah, blah, blah. And that's all it affects. It does not have anything to do with a padded envelope for FedEx or UPS or DHL. It is only for priority mail, cubic rate. That's it. So I asked development to make it so that this is more descriptive, so you know you only check this button if you're going to send a cubic rate envelope, which is called a soft pack. And folks, those soft packs can be a Tyvek envelope, a manila envelope, a padded envelope. The kind of envelope it cannot be is the kind with the expandable sides, the accordion sides. Even if it's just one accordion, that would be an expandable. Those cannot be shipped as a soft pack. So you probably sell acceptable padded envelopes, manila envelopes. You might even have Tyveks in your store. Those are perfectly fine for soft packs. And so we will, if it's padded envelope or soft pack, then we'll click continue. This would be now this is an awfully heavy soft pack. As you can see, I threw a ream of paper in a padded envelope. We all know that's going to be a stretch and the corners are going to get bent, and this would not be good behavior. Let's say, in fact, it was only a third of a ream, and we'll bring it down to 2 pounds, 5 ounces. Okay, that's probably a little bit more likely. And in that case, priority mail is $21.15. If we went over here, cubic rate is $8.25 my cost. Weight based is $15.28. But here's the catch. Because this is a soft pack, there is no magic behind the scenes. If I pick this one, I get charged $15.28. If I pick this one, I get charged $8.25. But on this one, I've only made $3.33, and on this one, I've made $5.87. I would still choose this one. So of course, the answer is let's raise our rates for these if we're going to use it for soft packs, right? So we're going to go back to this screen on our slide. Now this makes more sense. If you think you will use cubic rates for soft packs, then you probably want to use the first option here, no box, soft packs only. That reminds you and your employees and your customers, if they see the screen, that if it's a box, we can't use that option. And of course, they're probably going to say, well, then let's stuff it in a padded envelope, but that's another story. And we can certainly increase this price. Or if you don't think you'll be sending a lot of soft packs, and there's a great argument for this, then either take it completely off your Postalmate screen, because the magic happens whether you choose it or not, or have it say not available so that you can look at it, but you'll never choose it, and your employees will never choose it, and your customers won't ask for it because it says not available. So let's talk about how often you would use soft packs. Folks, I want you to think long and hard about this. Cubic rates were designed for heavy, small things. In a perfect world, we would have heavy big things and heavy small things and heavy everythings. The reality is the average package that comes into your store weighs 1.5 pounds and is a 10 cube or smaller. Am I right? I'm probably right. Unless you're a lucky person that lives in, has a store that deals with bigger packages. But the fact is, you don't get too many envelopes that are heavy and where cubic rate would be of great benefit. So what I'm saying is that out of 100 cubic rates that you ship, 95 are probably going to be boxes, and you might have 5 soft packs. That would be an argument for removing cubic rate completely from Postalmate for you, or just removing the option to select it by clicking not available. If you have a staff that will work in your benefit and work the way that you'd want them to work and make correct choices, then by all means keep it on, but identify that it's for soft packs only, because you're always, always, always going to choose weight-based if it's a box. and let the magic happen. Because remember, your customer has never heard of cubic rates, can't get cubic rates. That is basically money that you should make because you're running a store, not money that you should pass through to them. By the way, this is a great opportunity if you have small businesses in your area, that maybe you're starting out that have, a whole bunch of small packages, but they don't qualify for that 50,000 mark. Try to get them as account holders. Now, I will tell you, if they look hard, they will be able to find ways that they can get cubic rates and not go through you. There are groups they can join that would allow them to get cubic rates as well. But for startups, it might be a really great way to get a regular account holder and give them a rate that's maybe higher than your cubic rate, but lower than the weight-based, and something that would be a win-win for both circumstances. Okay. So we're back to this screen again, and let's remember, they are different containers, they are different rules, they are different rates. It's a completely different rate chart. For a box, make sure you have accurate dimensions. It goes up to 20 pounds, and really it's a half cubic foot, guys. So a 12 by 12 by 12 is a full cubic foot. So a 12 by 12 by 6 would be a half cubic foot. Unless you're putting in nails or nuts and bolts or something, ceramic tiles, it would be hard to exceed 20 pounds. So that's pretty much it. Okay, gold. Gold would be more than 20 pounds. If you're sending more than 20 pounds of gold in cubic rate, my address is, okay. But if you're doing a soft pack, you must check this box here. And that box is subject to change. Okay, and that's kind of the message right here as well. I always get ahead of myself, and I apologize for that. So if you want to set those rates higher for just cubic, and go ahead and enter questions as we go along, because I'm sure you're thinking of them. If you want to adjust just your cubic mail prices, you're going to go into Tools, Postal Mate Settings, Set Shipping Rates, and you're going to go in and you're going to check mark Priority Mail Cubic, and you can set it up. Now, folks, I don't care what you set it to. I would rather that you set it really, really high than have it low or moderate. Remember, we're not changing all your post office rates, just your cubic rates. Once again, I'm going to go into Postmate and show you how to do this, because it's a little bit tricky. It's one of those mouse things, if you will, that you have to play with the mouse and make sure you get it just right. And that's a Windows thing, not a Postmate thing. But we'll go into Tools, Postmate Settings, and then way down here, let's see, Set Shipping Rates. And so you're going to choose wholesale, because there is no published. And I'm just going to hit 80 for now. And we're going to scroll down to United States Postal Service, and don't check mark this box, because that would change all of your post office, and then you would be screaming at us trying to figure out what you did wrong. There's a little tiny arrow right in front. When you click that arrow, the carrier will open up and all of the services will display. See that? And then you scroll down through all the post office services until you find one that says cubic rate, and it's near the bottom. There it is. And you just check mark only that one. So we've got wholesale, we've got our margin in there, and we just click apply and save, and it's done. So now let's go back, and I'll just go quickly through and we'll try and see what that would look like. Because remember before, excuse me, for that ream of paper, it was $8.92 was our cost, and I want to say, and 13 and change was the retail when we selected the cubic rate, and that was okay. And I did choose a zone 8, which for cubic is the third zone, which is in national. Okay, so now it goes to 44.60. So now you're not going to accidentally choose this, or at least if you do, you're going to make a boatload of bucks, folks. So maybe 80% was a little high. There is no way to make this rate and your weight-based rate the same, close, or similar, because this one is purely on weight. This one is purely on size. And so it just doesn't work. It's kind of like saying, bananas are 29 cents a pound, or however many fit in this basket. Well, it doesn't work that way. So here we go. Let's go back to our screens. And let's go next. There are handouts. There's always handouts. I try to always have handouts. So you have on your webinar pane a little thing where it says handouts, and there's two of them today. One are the cubic rate rules, and the other is the cheat sheet, and that will direct you through every single of this point, every single one of the 6 points we touched on today, and give you instructions. Of course, you can always contact support if you can't read my instructions or figure out what I was trying to say. I did include some pictures. It's not overly pretty. I am not Colette. I can't make really pretty tech notes. I'm just not that smart. So, but I think it is handy. I think it will work well for you and help you out with that. So, in summary, know the rules. First of all, never select cubic rates when mailing a box, period. Just let Indicia do its magic. Rule 2, if you want to continue to have cubic rate option on your screen, change the message and move it to another tab, another screen. And rule 3, measure every box to make sure it's correct and check mark if it's a padded envelope for the soft pack option. Okay? Ooh, we're getting through good. It is time for question and answers. So go ahead and type in your questions. I have a half dozen to a dozen right now, and I'll look through those and see if it's something I've already addressed. If I don't get to your question, it may be because I addressed it already when you were helping a customer, or if it's something more appropriate for you to ask support, I would ask that you just email support@pcsynergy.com, and they would be happy to get back with you, or they will get a hold of me and say, Karen, I don't know what the heck they were talking about. It must have been something you said on the webinar, and I'll say, oh yeah, it's blah, 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 or I'll call you personally, one or the other. Excuse me. The last thing I want to touch on is the most important, because on Friday, I get to travel on an airplane all the way across the country to our regional training in Charlotte, North Carolina. I love coming to Charlotte because there's no nicer people than the people in that area. I promise. Well, Houston's pretty good too. All right, y'all are good. Or as they say in Houston, all y'all, right? Okay. But we're going to be in Charlotte, and our travel team, there's always at least 3 of us that go to these events. We'll also be at the AMBC event that's they're holding, and the RS Associates Expo that they're holding. But these are specifically postal mate training events. There is between 11 and 12 hours of solid postal mate at these trainings. It's a half day Saturday, so it's Saturday afternoon, all day Sunday. One small charge. We treat you to lunch. Actually, FedEx treats you to lunch on Sunday. And by the way, FedEx comes to every single one of the events, not a local FedEx rep, not some doobie guy that has worked for the company for 6 months. The person who's in charge of the entire FASC program appears at these events. So it's, these are really important to them too. And they care about you. So we appreciate their sponsorship. We also have other vendors that come, so it'll be your opportunity to get to know and see other money-making opportunities. So I'm going to leave that up there for a minute, and I'm going to start answering the questions. I'll probably have to take this down and go through Postalmate to get to a few of your answers. So bear with me. How do I know if my Indicia account has cubic rate or not? Well, if you got your Indicia account recently and you used a link that Postalmate provided you, you probably have cubic rates. You can always call Indicia and ask if your rate program includes cubic rates. So they may go, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. They should be able to give you that answer. If you got your account through RS Associates, you don't need to do any checking. I guarantee you have cubic rates as part of your rate program. The Indicia invoice, I don't know if it states cubic rate. I believe it's just going to state priority mail. I don't think they differentiate between whether it's cubic rate or priority mail. It'll be simply a price difference. So you would have to choose one that you thought and go and check. I don't have a magic way of checking those bills. And frankly, to be honest, I haven't seen an Indicia bill in 9 years. So it's not a bill, it's an online account, whatever thing. I haven't seen one in 9 years, so I don't even know what they look like anymore. If cubic rate is chosen and the item is in a soft pack, but soft pack is not selected, will we automatically be charged the higher price? Ooh, okay, for some of you that didn't get that, let me go. What she's saying is, let's say that this was, okay, I'm going to adjust the weight here. Let's say that this is actually a soft pack, but on this screen here, we did not check this, okay? Would we get charged this rate, which is $8.92, or this rate, which is $15.28? I think you would get charged this rate, the $8.92. And the reason I don't know that is because I've read the rules that I'm all handing is part of the handouts, and it doesn't say if you do this, then this happens. My gut says that, well, Indicia's not going to know whether it's a box or a bag. It's going to assume it's a box. And I don't think there's any problem with sending a soft pack I don't know. It could end up going postage due. That's a great question. In fact, I'll tell you who that's a question for. That's a question for Indicia. And for those of you who know me well, I would rather say I don't know than tell you the wrong thing. My guess is you're going to get the lower rate. In fact, I can guarantee you'll get the lower rate from Indicia. The problem is, would it go postage due? And that I don't know. That's a question for Indicia. So if you have that question, please ask Indicia. It might slide through just fine. Ooh, great question, Terry. Do we have to use the fractional measurements to get cubic rate? No, in fact, you don't. If you wanted to just round up to the next whole number, you can. But let me show you real quickly. I'll just use this one. Let me show you real quickly why that's important. Let's say this is 2.75. See this 4460? Okay, make a liar of me. Am I on? I am. Okay. That's because of, let's go 2.25. Wow, 0.25. Okay, it's going to make total liar of me on this. What have I? 11.75. Okay, maybe I have that soft pack. It will play with it in yours. You can still round up, but the fractions actually matter quite a bit in the pricing. And I'm sorry, I'm at a space here where I'm probably in between, or well in one. So, but the fractions actually do matter quite a bit. So go ahead and on your Postalmate, enter and play with it, and use you play with the fraction ruler, and then round up and see the differences. And I think you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to take all of your time in toying with it right now. What's on my less reliable tab? I actually put these here so I could just show you, but normally on that's where I would have Parcel Select Ground and Media Mail, because those are the services I would rather not sell, but I will if it's going to make if it's a difference between them walking out or making the sale. So, but because I always advocated customer facing screens, I want them to know that, would want them to know that we considered that a less reliable service. Okay. I want to do this. Please, before I know some of you are getting ready to go, I want to ask you to please, let's see, take this poll with me. Okay, because this is important. Hopefully you can see this. You can choose more than one if you need to. Please choose. Hopefully you can all see the poll. And I really want to see how you like our slides. The old slides, I don't know if I can get one of those up. Ooh, I can. So let me just pull this up. This is what our old slides looked like if you were trying to remember. Let's see, slideshow. They look like that. And so they weren't ugly. They were nice, but they were, they were like this, and it was all uniform. Maybe that makes it easier. I don't know. But I want your opinion on that or the new slides, because we are really trying to get ready for the future here for you. And I'll just quickly thumb through those new slides. I like the new slides, but I had fun making them, so I should like them, right? Okay. So, okay. All right, I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's see, I'm going to share it so you can see that I made some of your eyes bleed. And I'm so sorry I made some of your eyes bleed. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, we'll go back to the questions. And why are the trainings not in Arizona? I agree. I think all the trainings should be in Arizona. I'll tell you what, let's have one around July 15th and we'll invite you all. We'll have it outdoors. Okay, maybe not. We have on occasion had some in Arizona, so that's good. What's the difference between published and wholesale? Okay, it's different meaning. Okay, no, it's not. Published rate is the rate that is charged prior to your discounts. For some services like cubic rate, there is no published price because there is only one rate. You can only get it if you qualify, and it is that low price. There's no published price. There's no available public price. So there is no, so occasionally there is no published price. So for FedEx and UPS, published price is the rate prior to your discounts as an FASC or ASO. For post office, published price is what's charged at the post office. So that would be before you get any accounts applied for being an Indicia account holder. Good question. That is correct. You do not have to check the soft pack if the item is going FedEx or UPS. That soft pack button, and we'll go back to it right here. This soft pack button right here doesn't affect UPS or FedEx at all. It's only for USPS priority mail cubic rates, period. Okay. If it's a soft pack, or excuse me, if it's a padded envelope and you're sending it by FedEx, then you need to find, the rules say if it's a number 7 padded envelope for UPS and FedEx, then you have to check mark article and not in standard container. That's for a number 7 envelope. The rules are 18 by 13 by 5. If any of those sizes are exceeded, then it's a non-standard container and considered additional surcharge. So, but that's a different subject and we're not going there today. Why does a 10 by 10 by 8 priority box say $15.20 with my cost of $9.12 and the same rate shows $19? Just the odds, just play with it. There is no making sense when you're trying to compare a cubic rate price with a weight-based price. You cannot make sense of it. Please don't. That's like trying to compare a post office flat rate box with a weight-based box and playing with different weights and trying to make sense of the two. You won't. They're different sizes, different shapes, different pricing options. They're not going to even make, the published price isn't going to look right. The wholesale price isn't going to look right. What you charge your customers is not going to look right. Just trust that the right rates are in PostalMate. How do you get to have DHL or cubic rate on your POS screen? Great question. That is in one of the handouts that kind of walks you through it, but I'll just quickly go there because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering how to set that up. It is just Tools, PostalMate Settings, and then on almost in the middle, Shipping Settings, and then Service Display. And this is where you decide what to name these tabs. By the way, you may have noticed, okay, because I'm just doing a little bit of fun with the let's see if I have that one up there anymore. No, I don't have that screen up there. Sorry. Okay, so you can name these whatever you want. See how I've got that one, less reliable, and you enter it right here. And so DHL is just right there. And so I've named it DHL, and I have all my DHL here. And then for post office, I just opened that up and only selected cubic rate. And if I were going to do less reliable, what I would do is open this up and I would choose media mail and parcel select ground, and I'd probably uncheck those two there. That would be a more appropriate, less reliable. Okay, next questions. What's on the best, most effective that I have on mine? And mind you, I horse around with my system a lot, so I can't promise you that everything that's set up right now in mine is how I would recommend your system be, but I'll try to let you see kind of what's on each tab. So I would, on the best, most efficient, again, my customer will see this screen, so I want them to read that. So that's why it says what it says here. I have things here that I don't mind selling because I know I have my margins good on these products. Anything or services, anything I don't have better margins on, I'm going to throw back here in less reliable or somewhere where they don't choose them. And in fact, in my store, and this is a true statement, in my store when I had it, and I had stores, for those of you that don't know, for 25 years, if somebody came in and they said, oh gosh, don't you have any left? What about mail? I would pop over here. I would not even have media mail or parcel select ground on this screen. I would only have priority mail and express mail. And they'd look at these two and go, oh gosh, I guess priority mail. Now, sometimes they would be smart and they'd say, oh, what about parcel select ground, or what about media mail? Then I could come over to another tab and I'd click it and say, okay, yeah, here it is. So, but I made them name what they wanted before I would go over here and select it. I would basically make them work for it if they want the low price. It's my store. I paid the rent. I paid for the carpet they're standing on. They're going to pay the higher prices in my store. That's just the way it rolls. Call me Starbucks. Are cubic rates given to online Indicia other accounts? No. And I say that with qualifying. Only certain account holders. So again, I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. Out of the hundreds of thousands of accounts that Indicia has, account holders, a very small percentage get cubic rates. They would be commercial businesses and they would have 50,000 priority mails a year in volume, or they would belong to a conglomerate group like you do that is counted as one entity for the purposes of qualifying for cubic rates. So the insurance company down the street and the lawyer's office that has an Indicia or Stamps.com account, they do not qualify. Absolutely not. A manufacturing firm down the street that ships out 50 priority mails a day, they probably do belong to a group or something that qualifies. If you have a startup company, maybe one of your box holders or local company, and they may ship 5 to 25 or so priority mails a day, chances are they don't have one yet. And that's the customer you really want to go for on this if you want to strategize cubic rates. Okay. Cubic rates has nothing to do with carrier supplied packaging. You cannot use carrier supplied packaging. It must be in a generic brown or white box or a dumpster dive box, or it must be in a padded envelope, not one provided by post office, ever. So if it's a post office provided box, it will go either as a flat rate if it's a flat rate box, or a weight based if it's just a plain priority mail box. So you must use, that's a great reason to sell one. By the way, I was going to tell you, as a hint, we all have box displays out front. By the way, if your lobby doesn't have a ton of boxes, it should. I know that some of your lobbies are small, but if you have the ability to stack boxes or put boxes in boxes and show boxes, try to have all of your boxes and giant bags of peanuts out in your lobby, because people go, wow, this is a packing store. It helps sell your business without you having to sell your business. And so they see clearly that you do it. Then go out and mark with some way, it could be subtle or not so subtle, mark the boxes that qualify for cubic rates, so that when a customer is trying to ship something and you notice it's heavy, you can kind of say, well, let's see if we can fit it in this one. It might fit in this one, while you're knowing in the back of your head that that's going to qualify for cubic rates, rather than the one size up that you might have to put some peanuts in. And you can just do that. An idea would be you can order priority mail stickers from the post office for free. You could actually go and tag those boxes that qualify with a priority mail sticker out on your lobby. Or you could just put a little star in the corner or dot or whatever, but that kind of helps. Okay. Can we set a play envelope before we make changes in our live envelope? I'm not sure what you mean by that. We only have 5 tabs. How do I get 6 tabs to display? The number of tabs you have to display is dependent upon the number of carriers available to you and that you have. So for people who are not in areas where they have or using regional carriers might have only 5 tabs. So that's what it's dependent upon. I can't gift you another tab, but sharing DHL and cubic rates or sharing a couple of these is a great way to go. You don't have to have an individual tab for every single one. Obviously, we all know that UPS is the only service that has to have its own individual tab. They cannot share a tab with any other carrier because they have UPS rules about that. Okay. If we enable cubic rate and set the rates, do we have to list them on a tab in order to get the Indicia auto repricing? No. If I removed cubic rates from my Postalmate completely, I would still get cubic rates because my account qualifies for it. So when I sent priority mail and it was a, let's say, a 12 by 6 by 4 box, okay, and I went priority mail, I would get $28.25 from my customer. I may not even have cubic rates on any tab anywhere on here. That's fine. When it went to Indicia, my account would be charged $8.92. You see, that's a common number there. Okay, so I don't have to have it over here. I don't have to have it on there, and that's why I say it's okay to remove it completely if you want to. And the instructions for removing are the same as for putting it on a different screen. You can ask support to help you, to walk you through this. They won't do it for you, but they will be happy to walk you through it. You only have to do it on your master workstation. You do not have to do it on every workstation. If you're not eligible, then what should we do? If everybody, all Postalmate stores except for some contract postal units should be eligible for these rates. It's just a matter of getting the right account. So you either go through RS Associates and get an account, or you sign up for a new Indicia account through Postalmate, and our support team can give you that link. I think it's also available on our website. I'm sorry, I don't have that one ready for you right away, but it should qualify you for the Indicia preferred rates. Do eBay customers get cubic rate? I don't believe so, but I could be wrong on that. I am just not sure. Andy asks, do you have to be an RS Premium member to get cubic rates? I do not know the answer to that. I don't believe so, but they would be able to answer that. Oh, environment, thank you. Can we set a play environment before we make changes in our live environment? Restore Postalmate back up to your laptop and horse around with it. And then once you're done, just set it beside and have it how you like it. Then you can just set it next to your desktop master and try to do the same settings. You can't restore it. I don't want you to restore that backup unless you're closed and aren't going to lose any data. So that's how I would do that if you wanted to. But really, as far as the tabs and stuff, there's nothing you can screw up. If you take a screenshot of how your screen looks now, like this screen, and by the way, here's how you do a screenshot. On your keyboard, you could do one right now if you want. Hold down the Alt button, and way up in the top to the right of F12 is a screenshot. And you go Alt F12, okay? When you do that, it's on your clipboard. And you can go, hang on here, I'm going to do this for you, I promise. Hang on here. So on your clipboard, I'm going to create a brand new Word document, and I'm going to drag it over. So here's a brand new Word document, we agree? So I'm going to then copy, or I'm going to paste, and I'll right click and click paste. Oops, and there's the questions that I didn't want to show you guys that everybody's asking. So that's how you do, I obviously had the wrong thing highlighted, but that's how you do a copy paste. And you can see there were a lot of questions, so I am getting through them. Sorry, folks. So 8 by 6 by 6 is a cubic rate box. If I enter 8.5 by 6.5 by 6.5, does it still count? Yes, because it's under 864 cubic inches. So yes, it would still count. It might be a different price, but it still counts. Do reports show the price Indicia charged us or the price we chose in Postalmate? Postalmate only knows Postalmate. Postalmate doesn't know what happened behind the scenes at Indicia. So your Postalmate report, when you choose this option, will show your wholesale as being $13.38, when in fact, when you look at Indicia and you have cubic rate, you should have gotten the $8.92 charge on this. So your report in Postalmate and your report with Indicia should not match when it comes to cubic rates. There's no way we can fix that because we would have to have Indicia feed us information, and they do not have that technology available. Okay, as far as RS, to get the rates for the RS associates, yes, you do have to be a premium member. One of their counsel just told me, who is watching the webinar, so thank you for that. And how do I delete a tab from Postalmate? I added one and don't want it to show. So if you have a tab up here you don't want, you just make it, you just hide it. And we love to hide things in Postalmate. We often give you the option to hide things. So I'm going to go back in here. And the first one you can never hide because there always has to be a first one, right? But let's look at less reliable. By clicking this, tab active, it would not appear anymore. So that's how you would do that. Okay. Mind you, the tabs are different for generic than weight-based. Okay. So you have two different ones. And cubic rate is never in carrier branded. It's only in generic. Okay, before I get that question. No, it's not the F12 key. It's the one to the right of the F12 key. So to make a copy or to copy or take a copy of your screen, it's the Alt button and then print screen, which should be a button to the right of your F12. I mean, everybody's keyboard's a little bit different, but it should be to the right. Okay, so we're starting to get off topic. So I'm going to answer your question, Lou, in just a moment. If you have other questions not related to this, stay on. I'll stay on for a little bit and try to answer other questions. But otherwise, I'm going to thank you all for joining us. Those of you that have to leave, appreciate you being here today. And those that were watching as a recording, thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.